Hello, everyone. My name is Kristina Höök, and I'm here to introduce a paper that was accepted to SIGCHI in 2021 to the special issue on first-person perspectives. The work was a collaboration between many different researchers in Sweden and in the UK and in Portugal. So there was myself, Steve Benford, Paul Tennent, Vasiliki Tsaknaki, Miquel Alfaras, Juan Martinez Avila, Christine Lee, Joseph Marshall, Claudia, Daudén, Roquet, Pedro Sanches, Ståhl, Umair, Charles Windlin, and Feng Shui. So what was going on here? Well, first, just a brief introduction to Soma Design. If you never heard about it before, it's built on theories by Schusterman called somaesthetic theories. What he means by that is a combination of two words, soma, as in the living, purposive, sentient, perceptive body or bodily subjectivity. That is the connection between everything in what we are, our thinking, our emotion, our movement, our bodies, as well as our social setting and our subjective selves. And then he put this word soma together with the word aesthetics. Aesthetics to him builds on Dewey, and it's, in short, an awakening from mindless, joyless behaviors. It's a skill that you can train. It is not a property of the object, nor is it a property of me. It is something that develops between me and the things I interact with through all my senses. And to Schusterman, somaesthetics is the analytical and practical engagement with the highest art of all, that of living a better life. Now, Soma Design is a design program that we engage in at the Royal Institute of Technology in Stockholm and in other places in the world. I think that the Nottingham group, the mixed reality group in Nottingham, were curious about what this Soma Design stance could give. And so they wanted to explore if their research program or their design program could meet our design program, and something interesting and creative could happen between us. So the Soma Design program is perhaps best known for soft and nice and cuddly and mindful experiences, while the mixed reality studio in Nottingham is perhaps most known for designing for the uncomfortable, for the thrilling, for the scary events. So we were not entirely sure how this meeting was going to unfold. But there's nothing really in Soma Design that says that you cannot engage with what is also uncomfortable. It doesn't have to be comfortable in order for us to be interested in the aesthetics of the experience. So what happened? Well, we had loads of fun, and you can turn to the paper to read more about it. We had some uncomfortable experiences. We had some thrilling experiences. We were balancing off balance beams. We were trying to learn how to play the guitar. We were dancing together, pretending that we had one joint prosthesis to dance with. We were hanging from a harness, a flying harness, pretending that we could fly free floating in the air. And it was super creative and very engaging. But I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the main insights of the paper. So first of all, when we say non-dualistic, what do we mean? I think a lot of people have misunderstood, perhaps, what we mean by a first-person perspective. So in Merleau's terminology, the first-person perspective is about being on the inside of an experience and feeling it and so on, which is what we do when we engage in Soma Design processes. But that doesn't exclude, for example, the second-person experience. To Merleau-Ponty, that is really when the other person's experience takes possession over me. When I grasp the meaning of why they move or engage or look the way they do through feeling it. And likewise, the third-person perspective, when I see some limb of my body as in a third-person view, like, oh, there's my hand. What is it doing? I don't know what it's doing. I am always also on the inside of that experience. So it's not that one excludes the other. the first, second, and third person perspectives are sort of there all the time, but we choose to attend to one or the other at a time. And so this is what we find with Soma Design, that in a way it's asking us to dissolve these perspectives. So when you're on a balance beam, for example, you might start by really attending to your inner experience of trying to stand on a balance beam and feel balanced. But then as we add a sensor to your calf, your muscle calf, that picks up on the movements of the calf, turning it into sound, then suddenly you can start experiencing also from the outside in a third person manner your muscle and what your muscle is doing. You're still on the inside of trying to balance, right? And the people in the room might also be listening then to what is happening with your calf and the movement of your muscle, and they can start empathizing with your expression and what is going on between you, the technology, and the balancing, as well as sort of empathizing and feeling what a future user of this system might feel. So Soma Design, as we argue in this paper, is really trying to find a combination of these perspectives at the same time, or oscillating between them at the same time. And while we do this, when we make the familiar strange, there is a perspective gap that opens somehow, where we open for imaginations, for creativity of sorts between these first, second, and third person perspectives. And that's where we fill with ideas and possible novel interactions. So read the paper to find more about what are those strategies to bridge this body-mind divide that we talk about in dualistic designs, and how it requires both attending to your inner universe, but also simultaneously dissolving or traversing or oscillating between what is on the inside of you and what is the outside, what is individual, what is social, what is body, and what is technology. And then we come to entanglements or rhizome or intercorporal engagements with technology. Thank you.